Just quick another video. Um, sorry about the mess in the background. Do not worry about the mess in the background. But I do want y'all to listen up real quick. You know what I mean? Just coming in with a few more details about um, the state of which we are in. You know, want y'all to understand that this is just a quick video, so don't mind everything else. All right, try to focus on me. Right when I talk. Basically, just want y'all to understand that we are in a very important time in our history, and maybe one of the most important times in world history. You know what I mean? Where we have a man who has become an authoritarian fascist who has taken over the presidency of the United States. All right. I want you guys to be informed because I know that there's a lot of things that are floating out there. So one of the things that I want to tell you is to connect with God. Um, but unfortunately, the way things are moving, I hope you guys had done that already to find some peace. Ways to do that is to not get on social media, but to get your news from trusted. You know, I don't get my news from Newsbreak or anything like. Or how about this? When you skim over, try not to get into the comments and engage, unless you're gonna bring something that is new. So, one of the things you can say if you're engaging in that, because it's so toxic and quite honestly, the propaganda machine that the right has done is just pure misinformation and hatred. I'm already done with all that. I've already determined that Trump is a Nazi. He is a traitor, and he is not a legitimate president. And so one of the things that they're saying, I know that they have the right has exhausted with their conspiracy theories, like for the last 5 years, they've exhausted a lot of this, and they want to say a lot of things like, oh, now, like, they're gonna counter argument with like deflection and what I mean, downplaying and stuff like this that really is just like gonna go nowhere. But as long as you can say something that are facts, what I mean, and facts are like these guys that just found out that about 4 million votes were denied because of things such as like misposting like addresses, and because of like other reasons of voter suppression, there was like 4 million votes that were unaccounted for. Unlike like how I'm reading this developing, it hasn't gone across MSNBC or anything like that, not even on the far left, because again, the right was lying about the election being rigged for so long that they've exhausted this, and it is but it doesn't matter, because unlike when they had zero proof, there is proof, and it's legit. You know what I mean? And it's like that about 4 million votes, that were suppressed, to voter suppression. Um, Along with the video of Trump, and this is all speculation at this point with the video at least, when he says, that Elon Musk helped them win Minneapolis or whatever because of the computers or whatever that Elon Musk knows, which doesn't make any sense. Like, what is he saying? He's saying that Trump helped them win. I mean, that Elon Musk helped them win with maybe things other than the propaganda machine. When you take into account, right, that a lot of foreign people across the pond, and UK and in other places, are also coming along with Trump, you realize that the Russian hacker story becomes more believable, that they did interfere. Not only that, but you also start realizing that the propaganda machine also interfered, and that fascism is what Trump is, has all the symbols and the things of specifically, I could break it down to you, and again, what I mean, like, I've lived this long enough, and I've always had an out. This is the worst nightmares threats realized. In my life, he's like equivalent to like Satan. He's like the devil. He is the embodiment of a lot of injustice in my life. You know what I mean? He is the embodiment of everything that I hate. You know what I mean? That has hindered me, in life and millions of others. When I talk about corruption and injustice, deceivement, deceiving and what's the word is like when you want to hurt somebody, you have evil intentions and wickedness, like evil, is what Trump is the embodiment of. Um, and Again, voter suppression suppressed about 4 million votes, which is another thing that could impeach him. Because that could really question how because he's an illegitimate president anyway. He's a convicted felon, which should have barred him from becoming a president, which could lead like to impeachment. He had 34 counts of felonies as well that they did not even go through because they dropped the case for because he won the presidency because MAGA and the bribery and corruptedness, and I guess it's just like I want to say it's Nazi, but it's not Nazi. It's right wing. Um, it is Nazi in it, but it's like white supremacy, eugenics. You know what I mean? It's it's just like the evil white man. You know what I mean? Of the United States. Not white people, but it's the um, well, yeah, it is what it is. It's far right fascism. You know what I mean? It's authoritarian fascism, of these European people. Anyway, and they have done so much, right? So again, seeking God and really getting to understand that these are just some certain lines that you have to cross and or you fight against is if you believe in God is exactly these things. These things have hurt so many people. These things are lies. As far as Christian nationalism goes, that's just the brainwashing indoctrination, for them to be able to pick out desirables and whom they would call good in order to pacify them and break and like make women submit to a old traditional standard, but at the same time it's not. I wouldn't call it Christian lifestyle. It's just a traditional way to get women to start procreating in such a way where they can be controlled, you know what I mean, and they can be indoctrinated basically, eventually leaving their kids to be indoctrinated by schools and by other things, which is why he took out the DEI and other things, why he had, other things. So, all of this is just like eugenics, like I keep saying, um, coupled with authoritarianism, fascism, to take away the political enemies. This is sick. This is not even he is literally like when you look into what he's doing exactly what Adolf Hitler did. In the last few weeks, he's done exactly this time around. It's not like he's modeling Andrew Jackson or he's modeling whatever other president from the past. No, now he's directly modeling Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean? Like and this is like Nazism. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, you know, I mean, his whole second campaign was this whole thing, like blaming immigrants, blaming the Biden administration, preying on the anger of MAGA, making them mad at the administration. He even blamed them. He got them to such a delusional state, that he blamed natural disasters like wildfires in California or, a mudslide in the Asheville, North Carolina, on the Biden administration. You know what I mean? Literally, blaming an act of God, you know what I mean, on the Biden administration. Again, to play to your anger, you know what I mean, that he has to MAGA, because they that are fully submitted to him and are now at this point adoring him. They are entranced and adoring him. They are in love with him. You know what I mean? And just like the Nazis were in love with Adolf Hitler, you know what I mean? Even though Adolf Hitler was committing all these crimes, so he has them convinced that the immigrants, by using technical terms like illegal aliens, he's dehumanized immigrants and other minorities, and who he's also deemed incompetent and subhuman and inferior. You know what I mean? Which is what the Nazis and white supremacists believe. He's played on those tropes and he's played on these agendas. He's pushing that agenda, in order to keep to pacify all those people and straight out the Nazi book. You know what I mean, of Adolf Hitler. I mean, it's straight out that book. Like he's literally like mimicking Adolf Hitler. You know what I mean? This is where we're at. This is not right wing. This is extreme fascism. You know what I mean? What he's mimicking. You know, politics have been shifted to the right after 9/11. You know, you have not seen a true Democrat. Every Democrat that you've seen, especially if you're a young voter, has pushed immigration law, has made things that we consider racist. They have pushed conservative values, and they've inherited wars, and they've I mean, and it's always been right. Democrats. You've never seen a true Democrat. You've never seen a true left. You know what I mean? For a long, long, long time in this country. You know what I mean? And when you did see a center, they wanted to plunge it into extreme right. You know what I mean? Into extreme right. This is extremism. This is the extreme right. This is not Republican. This is not the right. This is extreme right. This is extreme fascism. You know what I mean? What we have going on, it's tyrannical. You know what I mean? I don't even think they don't even understand how far they've gone. You know what I mean? At this point, they say that liberalism is dead, and you had two choices to make, and it was socialism or fascism. And then America, because they killed liberalism, so most people probably chose fascism, not understanding that we already live in the right wing politics, and that when you say fascism, you mean extreme fucking fascism. You know what I mean? It's not just more to the right. No, we've been living in the right. You know what I mean? We've been living, and Democrats were just the center. So you know what I mean? And so this is so it was just two things. It was just socialism or fascism or communism. You know what I mean? Like they say liberalism is dead. I don't know. You know, what I do know is that I do know what evil looks like, and I do understand that that God is not the type of person to let you be happy at such injustices. God gave you the Psalms in order for you to suffer through all the bad things. And so when you look at the fantasy that the right people have, the Christian nationalists, it's just a delusion. It's just a brainwash. It's just an indoctrination that is used for them to first dehumanize people and then turn a blind eye to genocide. You know what I mean? Just like they did in Nazi Germany. The Nazi Germans were convinced they were in a deep state of peace, even though Adolf Hitler had gone against all their enemies and everybody who opposed him actually, and had killed, and they were gassing Jewish people whom they dehumanized. The Nazi German people were so indoctrinated, they felt a deep peace. You know what I mean? And then eventually their whole country got destroyed because they were pieces of crap. I mean, because they didn't know. Because that's what happens when you feel an extreme peace. Like, you know what I mean? They felt like they had won because they felt an extreme peace, and then they were utterly destroyed because they had killed millions of people. They were waging imperialistic warfare, right? Difference with this is that America, is way bigger than Germany was. It tries to imperialize its parents. He's doing the same thing. Trying to imperialize. You know, but America, like they say, is different. Is that it has always, the difference is this country has always fought against fascism. This country has, the KKK has always been, a threat. You know what I mean? Fascism has always been a threat to this country, but the difference is this country has learned how to beat it from the inside, eternally, and how to defeat it, right? Now, do I believe that entirely? No, I think it's a crock of shit. I think that this country has not truly defeated fascism because there's always been KKK, and there's always been systemic racism, and there's always been eugenics in this country. So I don't think it's ever defeated it. You know what I mean? But it has stopped it from becoming truly fascism, which is what is becoming now. And I think that the reason why is because the networks that were used, that were abused, and the manipulation and the lack of, like, the misinformation and stuff of what happened, along coupled with the sheer utter failure of the judicial department, or the voice of the people truly being, truly understanding what we're up against. I don't think that people were being quite honest, about the threat of what we're up against. Like, you know, Christian nationalism is not really Christianity. What I mean? It's cherry picking so that they can, exalt themselves and then practice eugenics. What I mean? Which is self righteousness. We are holier than thou, and you are inferior and subhuman to us. You know what I mean? And therefore, we should kick you out because you're worthless and expendable and a burden on society. You know what I mean? It's all discrimination, right? And this is the type of eugenics that inspired the Nazis, by the way. You know what I mean? And but again, this is not Nazi Germany. This is not Europe. This is it doesn't work here because this is not your land. This is not where you did this. You cannot unite all these people because all these people have different backgrounds. We're a nation of immigrants. You know what I mean? And then this land was indigenous land. You know what I mean? So it doesn't work like that here. This is not a European nation. It's not a British company. This is indigenous land which you came and stole, and then you try to put. So everything falls back to just where this place is considerably. It doesn't fucking go here. It doesn't match here, like in other Germanic states or European states. You understand what I'm saying? So that being said, we're gonna stand together. So one of the things you can do is tomorrow, we're taking a day off and enjoying a day, and what I mean, because we are going on a work strike, tomorrow, to remind people that immigrants do make this country run. You know what I mean, and they will make their presence known. You know what I mean? And I think this is just the beginning, and I think that we need to really see. I think after what we're gonna do, but if you guys, I honestly believe that all minorities, Latinos, and if blacks want to do the same thing, because the reality, although this is a migrant and an immigrant, and I would say Latino, indigenous as well, thing to do, you know what I mean, tomorrow, because it goes all the way to the indigenous. I mean, they're trying to do this, like, hurt the indigenous, population as well. ICE is trying to violate the indigenous people. Now, I consider myself indigenous too. You know what I mean? I don't look at myself like Latino, like Hispaniola or from Spain or Spanish, whatever. No, I look at myself like I'm an indigenous as well. I don't look at myself like I identify. I can identify as indigenous more than I can identify as a Spaniard. You know what I mean? Or a Latino, which is from Latin, which is right next to Spain, whether in Europe. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, as far as my Roman Catholic, my faith goes, I can say I'm Latin in that sense. You know what I mean? But really, when I talk about Latino, I mean like Native American. I like not Native American, indigenous, to this land. So, yeah, um, I know what the whitewashed indoctrination looks like. When I was younger, I used to go to school, and they used to tell me that Christopher Columbus was an explorer, navigator, and a hero. You know what I mean? That discovered America. And I said, and that never really sat right with me when I saw them pushing the little black slaves in the textbooks. You know what I mean? And you see the art depictions. It's like, they look like me, and they look like, indigenous people. And I'm like, what was the point of this? Or why did they do this? Or why do you call them a hero? And it's because that's the indoctrination. The reality is that Christopher Columbus was a maniac who was a sex trafficker and a pedophile who introduced genocide to the Western Hemisphere. You know what I mean? And was here to rob, and pillage, and rape and murder. So, that's who he was, and so it's just a difference of who wrote the books, and so the indoctrination looks like the former, and which in the real reality of what happened, is the latter. You know what I mean? And so the reason why they indoctrinate especially the white identity of people is because they make them think that they're actually the people that came over here and did this to the people, which they're not. They were probably descendants of more of like of the workers and shit, of the poor, white, you know, uh, they call them, what was it? They call them. They call them indentured servants in Europe, you know what I mean, and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just that white people want you to believe that you're descendants of the masters or the Romans or the people that were kings and stuff like that, and they're not. You know what I mean? They're the descendants of the indentured servants, but they want to act like they're the new American dream is to act like you're a king and a billionaire. You know what I mean? And that you're on top of the world. You're descendants of kings or whatever. You know what I mean? And you're not. You know what I mean? This is just a way for you to accept their to act like you're a preferred chip stock, like if you're high society, like if you're you know what I'm saying, like if you're better than somebody else. So this is just part of the way that they set things up, because if enough people believe that, then they'll give $400 billion to one man, and he can do whatever, and nobody judges him for it, because they want to be like him too, because that's the American dream. And so they let him walk around and condemn innocent people, and they let him walk around with $400 billion, and then they'll say, and then they blame the immigrants, or they blame the lowly as to why the markets are failing, or inflation or whatever. It's absolutely insane. They let Wall Street and corporate greed, crash stock markets, or not just crash stock markets, but they let them hurt the people based off creating bubbles, um, and off of greed. You know what I mean? And they let them prey on the people, and nobody ever condemns them. Like nobody condemns the banks. So that's where we at. By the way, the reason they're going after immigration people, but they're making money off of that. It's called the private prison system. It's an industry now. They privatize prisons. And so that means that there's private investors that make prisons, and it's an investment, which means it's a business, which means they want to return. And when they want to return, that's where they have to meet quotas. And when you have a quota to meet, that's where you get harassed and you get pulled in to go to and fill a jail cell. So just like companies that prey on you, the police and the prisons prey on you too. And that is why there's so many people that get incarcerated, and there's so many people that feel that they're being targeted, and they feel bombarded to an inclination to commit a crime, because they are targeted and they are driven to commit crimes. They are, well, pressured psychologically, maybe regionally. They put this pressure on a demographic. They create propaganda. They pit people against each other. They spread this sort of rhetoric that wants you to commit a crime. They treat you like a criminal. They coerce you. They falsely accuse you. Falsely attain you. They harass you. They gaslight you. They do all this stuff so that you can go and fill a jail cell, and so they can meet their quotas. You understand what I'm saying? And so one of the things that I'm against is the prison industrial complex. The prison pipeline, from the jail cell, from the kids to the jail, from the schools to the jail. I am against private prison industry. I'm against immigration, and they're all connected. And all of those things, are the things that affect us day to day. And they're the things that affect our youth. Like me, because these are the things these are the weapons and institutions that they have created against us. You know what I mean? For them to kill us frequently, or to throw us in jail at a disproportionate rate. You know what I mean? And so and it's all connected. Again, the GEO group is a group that is a private prison industry group that is also has a contract, is actually a lobbyist for the Trump administration, and they lobbied for him, and they gave him $1 million, and they got a contract with him to help build defenses at the border. So they're getting paid, and I think probably to house some migrants, I guess, and they're getting paid for the immigrants to get to get off. It's a business. They're making a way to find money. They're finding a way to make money off of this. So understand that they're not really trying to help you either. There's people that are trying to do this. They just got you convinced that these people are the problem, but they're making money off of it. I mean, at the same time, Trump, fossil fuel companies also are on Trump's lobby for Trump because Trump it wants to drill, drill, drill. You know what I mean? And at the same time, he has Elon Musk who's supposed to be pushing electric vehicles. I think they're just trying to corner every single freaking facet in the market. You know what I mean? It is absolutely disgusting that that's just how they are. But yeah, I think that if people, tomorrow, you know, we'll see what we can do. But I think it's one of the strongest things to do is what will occur. And it's one of the most effective things because this nation runs on this yearly GDP. It doesn't have any fucking money in the reserves. And I think Elon Musk cleaned it out like 2 days ago. You know what I mean? And I think they're trying to, get all the gold and shit, whatever the fuck it left is left in the treasury. You know what I mean? They're trying to do all that crap because they're trying to post Doge and whatever crap they're trying to do, and it's like they're just trying to like make money, and they're making money left and right because they got autonomy and they got and they're making their own, they're breaking the rules and changing them as they go. You know what I mean? They're fucking less regulating and they're doing it in the shadows. You know what I mean? And they are so totally um it's sickening, disheartening, but it's what happens when people don't understand who the enemy is and what they've done. Like the people that voted against abortion, you were mad because Trump made you get mad at women. The people that were mad at immigrants, you're mad because Trump made you get mad at them. The people that are mad at the foreign policy of the Biden administration, he made you get mad at these things. These things were not affecting you, but now they will because now you're gonna see what the fuck it means. You know what I mean? To be such a fucking idiot and pay for your shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, but yeah, just like but maintain hope and peace and love and faith in God and yeah, tomorrow, some of this shit might pop off. We'll see what happens. I also want to say that if you know, the Native Americans are getting harassed. I think that we should all stand together. If the Latinos want to go out and help them, and then if the blacks want to go out and help them, and if then the rest of the Democrats want to go out and help them, I think that we can all help each other and we can drive out ICE and anybody else from our cities. But we all need to stand together. You know what I mean? Because we can stand up against them. We are more than them, and we can't stop them from taking our friends and our families, or taking your friend and your kids' friends, or your kids' friends' family, and and rip them apart. But we all have to stand together. You know what I mean? We cannot allow, you know what I mean, um, people to be harassed disproportionately while we just sit by and watch it on the news. We need to be there. We need to be down. You know what I'm saying? We need to be there. What good is a friend if they never show up to you when you're supposed to fight? You know what I mean? This happened to one community. It can happen to you. What happened with Adolf Hitler and the Nazi? He didn't. He made them think it was just the migrants. First, he told them it was the gays. He went after the gays first. Then he went after the he called them criminals, but he went after the immigrants, right? And then when he dehumanized the Jewish people, he went after the Jewish community, and and then he didn't stop there. He went after everybody who opposed him. So either way, we're all on against him, and he will try to systemically get all of us, and even his political and our political elected officials. And we cannot, as a community, you're only we're stronger when we stand together. You know what I mean? And knowing how it is to be out there alone, it is very disheartening to be alone on the streets. I've been there. You know what I mean? Where nobody really comes to your aid. I've been, harassed. I've been beaten by cops. I've been, arrested unjustly. Yeah, I mean, you name it. I've been tossed around a jail cell, handcuffed. You understand? I've been kicked like an animal with my hands tied behind my back into a brick wall, and then choked out on the floor. by a you know by a power tripping cop, ego tripping, power tripping cop who who fucking just loses his shit on me. You know what I mean? Wailing on me while I'm handcuffed behind my back. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. I mean, I've had 5, 6 cops piled on top of me and stay on top of me for over 10 minutes. You know what I mean? 15 minutes, okay? I'm not joking, okay? I got a chipped, I mean, I almost got a chipped tooth right here. You know what I'm saying? For being slammed on the ground when I was like 17, okay? And they've been doing this for a long, long, long time to me, more than half my life. You know what I mean? They have done this, and it was worse when I was younger. When I was still when I wasn't a man, when I wasn't a fully man, like I wasn't an adult. Most of the stuff happened when I was younger, and they got away with it because they didn't have any body cams back in the day, and it was my word against theirs. You know what I mean? And of course, because of this merit based system type of shit that they have, which is just racism, they would definitely discredit me. Like, he's the cop with the badge, and you're the, you know, truant, student or whatever, and it's your word against theirs. That's another thing that you got to watch out for with this merit based system and the DEI that they took it out, is that they will be like, it's your word against theirs. And this is another way of discrimination and eugenics. You know what I mean? And systemic racism and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is another one of those things to watch out for. Just telling you so you can keep your guards up and understand that. Don't let it get to you, because these guys are just Nazis. You know what I mean? So they've been defeated before in history. They'll be defeated again. You know what I mean? We're gonna do it again. You know what I mean? And you have to make your choice. Like, is either socialism or fascism. You know what I mean? And for you to choose socialism at these times, understand that we've never been in a real socialist democracy. We've always lived in right politics after 9/11. You know what I mean? So just understand that, because some of you might think that you don't know what socialism even is, but what you've seen so far is pure fucking, is right wing shit in this country. You never lived in a socialism place. You understand what I'm saying? Countries get coup d'etat'd, because they were socialist, or they weren't even communist, not even in the slightest. You know what I mean? But they were socialist, and they used to get coup d'etat'd and used to get, messed up by this country. I mean, and so you never even lived in even a resemblance of a socialist country, especially in the United States. You understand? And when they were being sent here, you saw the Proud Boys, who were coup d'etaters, plunged this country into far extreme right fascism. You know what I mean? After January 6th. You know what I mean? And so that's what it was. They wanted to plunge it into extreme fascism, right? Into extreme right wing politics. Um, but yeah, dude, that's what they do, and um, tell you one thing, the corporations and the banks, they don't care about none of your rights. They don't care about none of your freedoms. They don't care about any of you. You are all just money plantations for them. You know what I mean? And that's all they care about. And they're dehumanized, and they don't have a soul. You know what I mean? And some of these people, they profit off of the capitalistic fascism. Well, fascism is gonna hurt everybody, but they profit off of the materialistic culture, the lacking of human empathy and stuff like this. I mean, they focus on that stuff, and yeah, and the douchebags that think that they're part of the oligarchy, and all their jazz, and they think they got a culture of what is it, greed, like like New York City greed, people that work in hedge funds and all that crap, American psychos. These are the people that crash the stock markets. These are the people that unethically prayed and did business and they created bubbles to crash the stock market. Um, don't be fooled. It's not a culture. It's a lack of culture. And I'll tell you one thing about this culture. They are so enamored with trying to act like they're the man and there's and this is what the right has adopted as being the strong man, but none of them can tell each other and confront each other the next day after they do a whole bunch of bullshit. You understand? They all of them have done drugs. They do all this buffoonery, and the next day they cannot even tell the truth about what they do to each other because they all think they're all in this game trying to make money and doing all this crap, but they cannot even confront themselves as a man. You know what I mean? To the point that they have to elect their leader to represent them because they are too busy. They're too chicken shit to face each other like a man. You know what I mean? About what they do. You understand what I'm saying? And so these type of people are the ones that elect people like Donald Trump to lead them because they're too chicken shit to call each other out on bullshit. Imagine you had a worker that you worked with, right? And y'all both did something stupid. And the next day y'all don't want to confront it. And because y'all don't want to admit that y'all both stole money, you know what I mean, and did shit, you know? And that's well, let's just say you watch them steal it, and you watch them how pussy that they want to act like they didn't know what they were like. They don't want to confront the situation. Last night they were hooping and hollering and they were having fun, blowing coke, you know, and all type of shit. And the next day they can't even admit to what they've done. I mean, that's Wall Street. That's that so-called culture of these narcissistic fucking people. You know what I mean? And that's not a culture. That's a lack of culture. You know what I mean? And it's just a bunch of sad, shallow, you know what I mean, surface level narcissism. You know what I mean? And it's fucking sad. They're so insufferable, even with money, that they have to feel the need to make fun of poor people. And like Andrew Tate makes fun of brokies. You know what I mean? And he can't enjoy his millions because he's a psycho. You know what I mean? That just tells you how fucking pathetic these people are. And, you know, they're miserable because they feel entitled or some shit, you know. But the reality is, even with money, they're still not happy. They're ungrateful. And it's pretty fucking sad. You know what I mean? It's pretty fucking sad, you know, to be honest with you. You know, hating on a brother, hating on people. No, but in all seriousness, you know what I mean? Fuck that noise because, you know, those people can't confront themselves and admit that Trump is a traitor or a Nazi or a child predator or a freaking misogynist or a sexual assaulter or, you know what I mean, you know, an insurrectionist, a terrorist, you know what I mean? You know, absolutely a fucking maniac, you know what I mean? And, yeah, and a psycho, you know what I mean? And, they can't admit that to themselves. I mean, they just can't. You know what I mean? You know, all that shit about them being tough guys, but they can't even admit it to themselves. You know what I mean? They can't even come clean about this shit. You know what I mean? They do all that, and they can't even admit and face facts, and they can't even take responsibility for their actions. I mean, so they think they're strong, but really they're this big. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anyway, um, um, yeah. So hopefully tomorrow we'll see some developments. But yeah, man, God bless everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. And you know, if you're tuning into my channel, hope you guys are doing good. I don't know if I want to close out with a little prayer. You know what I mean? Why not? And we'll just see what the Lord is blessing us today. And Lord, bless you that you give me a passage that can give, illuminate, help, and be the words and the spiritual enlightenment that we need at this moment, right? For me and my channel, my viewers, and whoever watches this video, and for me myself right now in this time and moment in this day, that you help us with our battles and you help us win. And thank you beforehand for the victory. All right. So, we get to Luke. You know what I mean? 12:48. I guess we can read this. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes. And this is discerning the times. This good one. Actually, I'm gonna go back a little bit so we can read. Okay. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But and if that servant say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the menservants and maidens, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. And that servant, which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. Hold on. That is so true. Sorry. I was just thinking about everything. Okay. But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled? But I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how am I straitened till it be accomplished? Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. From excuse me. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And he said also to the people, When you see a cloud rise out of the west, straightway ye say, There cometh a shower, and so it is. And when you see the south wind blow, you say, There will be heat, and it cometh to pass. Ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky and of the earth, but how is it that you do not discern this time? Yea, and why even of yourselves judge ye not what is right? When thou goest with thine adversary to the magistrate, as thou art in the way, give diligence that thou mayest be delivered from him, lest he held thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and the officer cast thee into prison. I tell thee, thou shalt not depart thence, till thou hast paid the very last mite. That being said, guys, don't start none, there won't be none. And I think that people should, I think, I said a lot of things this right now, but, maybe that's the whole point of this video, is to have this metamorphosis. God is right. And, despite what I've said, not that I take it back, I think that if you feel the inclination just to do what God, and put your faith in God and let God decide these things, it is the best course as well. I think that, what I want to do is just basically continue, doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to deter my plans. I'm gonna accept any challenge and not, stop my plans from going. Um, Not put a halt on my, growth. And I think that what's important is for you to have this relationship with God and to obey God. And I think that that's the best thing to do is to obey God. And that being said, for much is given, much is required. So, when those who have committed, will be asked a lot of a lot. You know what I mean? So, you know, that if you want riches, if you want to be successful, you have to stick with it and you have to do the work. You know what I mean? I think that we shouldn't think in a way that we will stop because of what is going on in the country, but we will find proactive ways of of going forward and continuing amidst these turbulences until, of course, the turbulences subside. You understand? I think that we should continue, striving for our dreams and our goals. I think that we should learn and we should continue learning, and be able to, you know, come back and defeat this evil, but at the same time, you know, have hope and whatever that we're doing, and that God will provide us the way. Though I do believe that tomorrow is still going to be a day where we could unite. You know what I mean? There's a lot of opportunities for us to unite in beautiful ways. You know what I mean? And for something meaningful. But I do think that we shouldn't upend ourselves. We should understand what we're doing it for. You know what I mean? And so maybe tomorrow is a good day for you to figure out those things about yourself. You know what I mean? And figure out what is it that you really want to do, and what is it that you want to continue. Where do you want to see yourself, right? And you know, um, and tomorrow could be a day to think about that. If if in fact you have nothing else to do. I will for one will be staying in my house. You know what I mean, and I'm not going out anywhere. You know what I mean, not that that means much to anybody. I do that. I do that anyway. You know what I mean, but still, definitely gonna make a conscious effort. To definitely see what it is, and you know, again, when God says that those who asked and will be doing what they're meant to do when he comes by, and I'm paraphrasing here. You know what I mean? And but that when he gets, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, who is his excellent steward, right? Who is the one that he's gonna give? And when you have these things, right? Like I can be like, if I want to be the next president, you know what I'm saying? If I want to take over for Trump, right? you know, this has been a dream of mine, right? So it's like, I have to be on my P's and Q's, got to be doing my thing. You know what I mean? And if I'm not doing that, then God is gonna beat me with stripes. You know what I mean? With many stripes, which I don't think is a good thing. I think that means that I will be in a lot of pain and disappointment. You know what I mean? Probably given. You know what I mean? But the point is, I do not want to be defeated. I want to be doing what God wants me to be doing. So, which means is to keep going forward, right? And keep and not going and getting back up. When you fall, you get back up. I mean, and you keep going forward. You know what I mean? And persevering. So that's what I gotta be doing. And yeah. So whatever you got, take care of whatever you got and stuff like that. You know, And I think that's the best thing that God wants you to do. And when He comes like a thief in the night, unsuspectingly, you know what I mean, and He finds you doing what you're doing, He will bless you for listening and obeying to Him. But if you get desperate, desperation, and you say, you're taking too long, but then and you start hurting your peoples and hurting the people that help you and hurting the people that are trying to help everybody else, then you will pay the consequences. You know what I mean? So I think that we have to be mindful of everybody, including if you have servants. I don't have servants, so this doesn't apply to me, but I do have, maybe people that help me out. And so, I mean, people at church, for example, I don't want to take advantage of them. You know what I mean? I know that they can help me, but also I'm not going to be like, I'm expecting them to help me. I need to help myself and help others. You know what I mean? And do whatever. It depends where you're at. You know what I mean? Gotta help out. Just like try to keep that in mind. I guess is like I will too. Maybe we could do this together. Help people out and to do your job and do what you need to do and do it right and do it well and continue in this. Do not give up on anything. Do not try to, abruptly end these things, whatever you got going on in your life. Do not succumb to crashing out or anything like this because those are tramps. Those are traps set by these eugenic institutions. Um, you know, don't, I mean, look, I've had this happen to me before where they want me to crash out. I mean, I had a perfect story. Is a girl that cheated on me. She cheated. She ghosted me, but she told me she didn't. I had a guy call me and tell me that he was with her, and this guy was like a Republican, like hi, you're a loser, blah blah blah, you're broke, brokey. I mean, but in Spanish, in a different language, didn't want to fight me. Just he just felt like like totally disrespected me without even telling me his name, without even wanting to confront me as a man. So that that's really good things of like reason to crash out, right? But what I used to do is I used to just like if I felt that way, like if you feel everybody hates you, one of the good things to do is to take a nap. It's a good thing that like I know it's underrated. You feel better. Like a micro nap, 15 minutes, helps you out throughout the day. I mean, you study, you do something else. Get your mind off of things. You literally take a walk. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know. I know I'll say this because, again, a lot of things have made us hate women, for example, and make us think that feminists or something is wrong with you. What I mean, it's the problem with society or something. Whatever these nut job Nazis were trying to convince us of. I mean? Obviously that's not the case. Obviously that's not the right take to think about people. But you know, many people have come to realize that they voted for Trump over some nonsense that was purely emotional, that made no logical sense, and it was because they were manipulated, right? I literally hear people say that they voted because of the abortion or whatever. It's like, you're not a woman, you can't make a baby, so why would you tell a woman when and where she can, what she when she can make one? It is not the noble or right or thing to do. Is not the noble thing to do. It is not a good thing to tell a woman that stuff. At the same time, these same people turn a blind eye to genocide. They turn a blind eye to thousands of kids getting bombarded in Gaza, which was a genocide. That was a genocide. You know what I mean? And they don't say that though. They call it a war when it was in fact a genocide. Same thing with these same people that supposedly are against abortion. They're pro death penalty, they're pro genocide, and they're pro putting kids in cages. Which is again like most people that say that they're pro abortion, it's because of a religious belief that they think is superior. But again, you know, if you want to be Christian and you say that you're against abortion, then why aren't you against all death? You know what I mean? Against war, genocide, death penalties, even towards rapists, even towards people like that. You should be against all death, and not just of human beings, but of animals, and unjustly people and stuff like this. Why can't you understand that? You know what I mean? You can't be pro Christian if you're anti-abortion, but you're pro or you're anti-immigration as well. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And y'all don't want to admit that. Y'all need to read your Bible. But again, Christian nationalism is not Christianity. It is an indoctrination. I mean, so you know, what else? But yeah, just like I said, just it is what it is, man. And we gonna have to show out in numbers and stuff because you know, man, we gotta stop this shit from happening, bro. You know what I mean? And yeah, so a lot of people, man, I know a lot of dudes, man, they probably voted for Trump because they think that they're men. Again, all these guys, they might act like men, but they can't even freaking. Next day, they don't even, I don't even got time for this shit. Like, I don't even know how to deal with these Nazis, man. They're just so ridiculous, bro. And there's just, you know, it's just really bad. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, stay safe. And I don't know why I did that. I was gonna join the Marines, but I didn't. No, that's neither here nor there. Um, but yeah, stay safe. I'll talk to you guys next time. All right. Peace. And remember, man, stay on your job. Keep your head up no matter what. Remember to be loving and protect your people, serve your people, community. And watch over yourself. And if you're a bodied able man, you know what I mean, then you better be down. In whatever way that may look. As a father, take care of yours. As if you're solo dolo, you know what I mean, and do your job to the best of your extent. Help others. Stand united with people. You know what I mean, against tyranny. I mean, resist, because we will not fail. We will not submit. Right. All right, and we just starting. Oh, I'm watching Che Guevara, another revolutionary, figures tonight documentary. That's what I'm doing. All right, so enjoy.